Hello, everyone. This is the Tech Educator 101 channel. As a longtime Linux user, when Linux Mint released, I never even bothered to use it, although I'd heard good things about it, and I have recommended it over the years because a lot of people have said it's great for beginners. And so a few weeks ago, I thought I would install it on my work laptop. It's a ThinkPad, and I gotta say, I was actually really impressed with it. It worked really well. The sleep resume worked flawlessly. It just performed really well. I was really impressed, and I can see why a lot of times people recommend it to beginners. The current version is 22.1. It's based on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS long-term support. Mint 22.1 will be supported through April of 2029, but I believe they release new versions following Ubuntu's LTS. So a 20, I don't know if they'll do 23 or 20. I'm not sure how they're doing their versioning, but as far as getting this and installing it, you can download the ISO from their website. Their recommendations for installing it to a USB drive or to download Etcher. Etcher is really easy to use. Rufus, there's some other tools out there. But Etcher is really simple because it just gives you this little menu. You select the image, the drive, your USB drive, and then click flash. And it's going to write that image to the drive. And then you'll boot it. So let's go ahead and start this up. And once it's booted, you get into this nice their Cinnamon desktop. But to do the install, let's go ahead and double click on the install there. All right, using your language and keyboard. And here gives you an option to install the media codecs. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And I'm just going to, there's nothing on that disk. I'm just going to install it right to that disk. There are some advanced features. If you use an LVM, it does let you encrypt it. I'm just going to click none and then install and continue. Then you can select your time zone. And then here you can log in automatically, require the password, or encrypt the home folder. I'm going to click that just for fun. This is a virtual machine. It doesn't really matter, but you can encrypt either just your home folder or the entire disk, or not encrypt it at all. At this point, it's gonna go through the installation. It'll scroll through some stuff, welcoming you to Linux Mint, just showing some of the features that it has. Really, I guess what it would be is the alternatives on how you're watching movies, listening to music, what programs you can use to kind of familiarize yourself if you're not a Linux user. All right, install is done. Let's go ahead and reboot into the system. Here we go. We're at the desktop, and I have just realized I have not been displaying the bar at the bottom. Let me fix that. So I went through the whole install, and you weren't able to see that bar, but there we go. Might as well get that going. So here we are at the desktop. Use the Cinnamon interface. I've never used it before until I have this. It's not bad. I prefer others, but It actually works really well. If you're coming from like Windows, you'll feel right at home. This is the welcome screen. In here, they give you some options to be able to change things right off. You can change kind of the colors. It kind of has a greenish black, or I guess I should say blackish green theme. But I'm going to leave that alone. The system snapshots just allows you to take backups of your files in the system so that you can restore if something happens. Think of it like Time Machine or Windows Backup. The driver manager will just do anything that's basically non-free of the proprietary drivers. This is a virtual machine. There won't be anything in here. But for me, on my ThinkPad, I was using the kind of the Optimus drivers for the Intel NVIDIA graphics card. So I was able to install the NVIDIA graphics drivers in here. The switch seemed to work pretty well. It also put a little icon in the tray that allows you to manually switch between the Intel and NVIDIA drivers. The update manager just gives you some options. It'll show all the different updates for the system. And here in the not preferences. You can come in here and change the mirror. So you can come in here and click on that and it'll automatically do a speed rank. So it'll give you the fastest, fastest mirror. I'm going to cancel that because Xmission works out pretty well for me on both of those. The system settings, you don't really have to do this from the welcome screen, but you can come in here and there's all the settings. It kind of laid out a little bit. Kind of like what Mac OS used to be back before they kind of changed it to the iPad interface, but they just kind of laid things out so you can change out the different settings. The software manager lets you install applications. One thing, even though Mint is based on Ubuntu, they are not using Snap, they're using FlatHub. I would still look for the native packages. They are typically smaller. The FlatHub packages are typically larger because they include all the dependent files, and they sometimes are sandboxed, so they can't have as much access to the system, which security-wise can be a good thing, but they're typically larger. But you can see here is for OBS Studio, there's the FlatHub, and you can go to the system package as well, but you can see that it's older. So if there's something that you need the latest version for, you can install the FlatHub version. But if you just want the native Debian package, you can just come here to the system package. Again, they're a little bit smaller, but they are typically, because it's a long-term support, they're a little bit further out of date. And then the firewall, you definitely want to come into the firewall. Make sure this is on. You can select a profile. By default, it's blocking everything incoming and allowing everything outgoing. If you need access to like SSH or something like that, you would have to add that in there to allow access. But if at home where you're behind a firewall, typically this may not be as important as if you are out in the public, connecting to an airport Wi-Fi or a McDonald's Wi-Fi or something like that. You would definitely want this firewall on. Now, I should have had that open. Let me go back into that. You're not going to find stuff like Google Chrome in here. It's not going to be in the native package. You can go out to the internet and download it and install it. And there are some things that are like this. If there are other browsers like Brave, in fact, let's check, see. Oh, Brave is in here. It's just the flat pack version. I bet, yeah, see, it's a gig and 3.6 gig required. That's kind of huge. Wow. You could probably, actually, let's just do Brave. Let's check it out. Get Brave for Linux. It's not really what I wanted to show you. But you can just open up the browser and you would copy that, paste it into paste it into the terminal and run that script. What I wanted to show you is downloading the Debian package. Download Linux. Whoa, where did I end up? Okay, here we go. Download Chrome. And here's the Debian Ubuntu and the Fedora. So we're going to hit accept. It's downloading that. And you can see it downloaded the program or the application right there. You can just double click on it. Click install. There we go. It was installed. Now we come over here and so we see Google Chrome is installed. I'm going to trash that. And just to show, let's go ahead and do it this other way so we can see what that looks like. It's going to copy that. And paste. And it looks like it added the repository locally and then went out and refreshed. And now is installing the browser. So I'm curious. I doesn't really see it. Oh. Okay, there we go. You can see there's the official package repositories. There's Vivaldi, Google Chrome, and the Brave browser. So app is able to go through these and keep those packages up to date. So even though you installed them manually, you wouldn't have to update them manually. The system will update them now that they're there, which is one nice thing over Windows and even Mac OS if you're not using the App Store. But other than that, I have been pretty impressed with Mint. I have used it for 3 or 4 weeks on my work laptop. It's really stable. I can see why people do recommend it. I mean, really, you could be very happy on Linux and never go to any other distro. They also have some really nice wallpapers. You could obviously add your own, and they have a little update icon down here to tell you when updates are available. Because it's LTS, there aren't massive amounts of updates all the time. Some distros, think like, Fedora or Arch or some of those others will just be doing tons of updates. You could be doing hundreds of megabytes of updates every week. I haven't seen that with Mint. It's just been very stable, really good distro. I'm pretty impressed by it.
If you found this video helpful, please click the like button. And if you want to see more of my content, please click subscribe. Have a great day.